Previously, we explored the upper and middle Rhine. Now we set sail on the Moselle to discover what this enchanting river has to offer. With the majestic castles and vineyards of the Rhine behind us, our journey turned toward one of Europe's most enchanting waterways, the Moselle River. Celebrated for its winding curves, storybook villages, and world-class Riesling, the river's meanders create steep south-facing slopes that capture maximum sunlight in this cool climate. Combined with heat-retaining slate soils, the Riesling grape develops vivid acidity, delicate fruit, and a distinctive mineral character. Fine Riesling can range from bone-dry to lusciously sweet, and a well-made sweet Riesling is every bit as complex, age-worthy, and food-friendly as a dry one, sometimes even more so. Day 6 marked the beginning of our Moselle adventure, with a stop in Koblenz, where the Moselle meets the Rhine. This town blends Roman origins, medieval charm, and modern life at every corner. Excursion options included a 12-mile guided bicycle ride, but we chose the Koblenz walking tour to explore the Old Town. Highlights included the German Corner, the confluence of the Moselle and Rhine, crowned by the statue of Kaiser Wilhelm I, symbolizing German unity. The History column, 10 sculpted scenes illustrating over 2,000 years of Koblenz's history, from Roman settlement to the present day. The Spitting Boy Fountain, a quirky old town landmark. Its unpredictable sprays of water are meant to surprise passers-by, reflecting the city's playful spirit and sense of humor. After lunch back on the ship, we explored further on our own and took the scenic cable car ride, gliding 890 meters across the Rhine to Ehrenbreitstein Fortress. Perched high above the rivers, this vast 19th-century Prussian stronghold was never attacked, making it one of Europe's best-preserved fortresses. Today, it houses museums, cultural exhibitions, and offers sweeping panoramic views of Koblenz, the rivers, and the surrounding valleys. Tip of the day: many river cruise lines provide bicycles for guided tours or independent use. Helmets are always included and required, and a waiver must be signed acknowledging the risks of cycling, a standard safety measure. If you haven't cycled in a while, be aware that even gentle rides can leave you with sore muscles the next day. Bernkastel was our next stop, right in the heart of the Middle Moselle wine region. The town charms visitors with its medieval market square and half-timbered houses. It feels like a village frozen in time. Excursion choices included a leisurely 14-mile bike ride along the riverside path, but we opted for a guided village walk through Bernkastel, followed by a tasting of regional Moselle wines. As we followed our guide through the winding streets, we came to an unexpected highlight: the legendary Doctor cellar, standing directly beneath one of Germany's most famous vineyards. The bronze door of the Doctor Keller tells the legend. In the 14th century, the Archbishop of Trier was gravely ill. Doctors and medicines failed, but after drinking Riesling from this very slope, he recovered. He called the wine his true doctor, and ever since the vineyard has been known as the Bernkasteler Doctor. The vines above are part of that legendary site. It's tiny, just 3.25 hectares, less than 8 acres, which makes every bottle rare.
Old wine. I think it's older than 80 years.
At one time, this was the most expensive vineyard land in Germany, rivaling even Bordeaux and Burgundy at auction. Owning a piece of this hillside was like holding liquid gold. The Dr. H. Thanisch family has been producing Riesling here for more than 2 centuries. Their wines from the Doctor vineyard remain among the most sought after in Germany, celebrated for their ability to age gracefully for decades. Standing there felt like standing at the foot of one of the world's great wine legends, a vineyard born from a miracle, treasured for its rarity, and still producing Rieslings worthy of its name, the Doctor. Tip of the day: river cruising, like all forms of travel, can be affected by unexpected conditions. Water levels that are too high or too low may prevent ships from navigating certain stretches of the river. Locks can sometimes cause delays, and river traffic or limited docking space may also change the schedule. The key is to stay flexible and embrace the moment. For example, if your ship can't dock at a scheduled port but you still want the river experience, local excursion boats often operate nearby. For just a few euros, you might enjoy a short regional cruise instead. Think of it not as a disruption, but as an opportunity to experience the river from a new perspective. Our journey continued to Trier, often called Germany's oldest city, where history is etched into every stone. Founded by the Romans in 16 BC, Trier grew into one of the great cities of the empire. Today, it offers a striking mix of Roman ruins, medieval cathedrals, and lively modern streets. On the Trier walking tour, guests could explore Porta Nigra, the massive Roman city gate built around 170 AD, still standing nearly 2,000 years later. Imperial Baths, an ambitious but unfinished Roman bath complex that reveals the scale of imperial engineering. Karl Marx House, birthplace of Karl Marx, whose writings, including the Communist Manifesto, shaped modern political thought. Instead of exploring Trier, we chose another path, crossing into the small yet remarkable nation of Luxembourg. Though modest in size, Luxembourg has long stood at the crossroads of Europe. Our first stop was the Luxembourg American Cemetery and Memorial. Across 50 acres of immaculate lawns lie more than 5,000 U.S. service members, most of them young men who lost their lives during the Battle of the Bulge. At the center rests General George Smith Patton, commander of the U.S. Third Army, whose troops liberated Luxembourg in 1944. Walking among the white marble crosses and stars of David is profoundly moving. It is a place of solemn silence, where the weight of history and sacrifice is deeply felt. From this quiet ground, we continued into Luxembourg City for a panoramic tour. Rising above dramatic cliffs, the city presents a striking contrast with medieval fortifications alongside modern towers of glass and steel. We explored Notre Dame Cathedral, built in the early 1600s. The Grand Ducal Palace, still the residence of Luxembourg's royal family. The Golden Lady Monument, a gilded statue atop an obelisk symbolizing freedom and resilience. Later, we enjoyed lunch and shopping at our own pace, surrounded by the hum of daily life. The atmosphere felt light and relaxed, a fitting balance to a day that began with solemn remembrance. Tip of the day: on luxury cruises, dining is more than a meal, it's a 5-star experience, from the artistry of presentation to the richness of flavor. Menus are a guide, not a limit. You're welcome to mix and match. Order more than one appetizer. Try 2 entrees in smaller portions, or enjoy several desserts. If you'd like your entree served as a starter, or a favorite sweet in a smaller size, the galley will gladly adjust. This flexibility extends to beverages as well. If the wine pairing doesn't appeal, the sommelier will offer alternatives from the cellar. And when it comes to cocktails, don't hesitate to specify your preferred ingredients. For instance, request a gin and tonic made with a particular gin or brand of tonic. Waking up in Cochem feels like stepping into the pages of a fairy tale. Pastel-colored buildings line the riverbank, vineyard-draped hills rise on every side, and high above it all stands the imposing Reichsburg Castle, watching over the Moselle Valley. This is truly one of Germany's most picturesque small towns. Among the excursion choices was a walking tour of Cochem, yet we decided to venture further afield on a hike to the Geierlei Suspension Bridge. Step by step across the bridge, we were surrounded by sweeping views and a quiet remoteness that made us pause, breathe, and feel utterly alive. Later that day, we still made time for the castle on our own terms. A local Reichsburg shuttle picked us up from the bus station and carried us up the steep hill to the castle gates. For just a few euros, we joined the English-language guided tour. Reichsburg's story stretches back to the 12th century, when it stood as a fortified toll station overlooking Moselle River traffic. In 1689, it was destroyed by French troops, only to be brought back to life in the 19th century as a neo-Gothic masterpiece, an expression of romantic architecture and imagination. Outside, the reward was even greater, sweeping views of the Moselle, winding like a silver ribbon through vineyard-covered hills. Tip of the day: be curious, be adventurous, don't be afraid to use local transportation and explore independently. A simple city map from reception desk is always helpful, and if language feels like a barrier, your smartphone can be your best companion. Translation apps today work remarkably well, from reading a street sign to translating museum descriptions. For example, when we bought our shuttle ticket up to Reichsburg Castle, we weren't entirely sure the driver understood that we wanted a one-way ticket rather than round trip. A quick check in the app translated Einzelfahrschein as one-way journey ticket, giving us peace of mind. In the next episode, we return to the Rhine for Cologne and Düsseldorf before continuing through the waterways of the Netherlands and Belgium, concluding in Brussels. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and feel free to reach out with any questions about river cruising or travel planning.